Welcome back into another NBA DFS video, guys. My name is Eric Polzin. You can follow me at 9to5 Sports. Going to be breaking down this 12-game slate here. It's a big slate, okay? Yesterday was our dip the toes in the water slate, and now we're diving head first. This is a big slate, and so what we're going to be doing in this video is going to be going game by game, but I'm going to be highlighting on just the top plays, okay? I don't need this to be a long video. You guys don't need it to be a long video, okay? Just touching on the top plays for each video, and I will be putting more of an emphasis on FanDuel. I know there's a couple of comments in yesterday's video about FanDuel. Okay, we are going to be covering that just yesterday's slate. It didn't really make sense to dive into FanDuel too much. The only player that was really mispriced on FanDuel was Malcolm Brogdon in a poor way. Okay, so this video will be doing that as well. If you guys enjoy this coverage, make sure to like and subscribe. That does help out the channel a lot. So without further ado, let's get into the NBA DFS picks. All right, just looking right off the bat, we are just pulling up which players are going to be out in this game. Okay, so we got LaMelo Ball and Markelle Fultz as the two biggest usage-based players that are going to be out in this one. So just looking at that right off the bat, I would say Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and Kelly Oubre are all going to be players that get a bump in usage. They all saw about 22 to 25 usage percent with Terry Rozier out, and then they also average around 34 to 38 DK points per game with LaMelo Ball out. So that'll be something we need to monitor. Markelle Fultz is out. I think that just is going to help Suggs out kind of the most. Okay, he saw about 25% usage and about 36 DK points per game with Fultz out. Okay, and then from there, I do want to point out Keegan Murray, the rookie. He's out as well. That could lead to some value that I'll touch on as well during this video. Then just looking at game time decisions, who else are we worried about here? Dylan Brooks, Ken Burch. Okay, so no big names there that we're too worried about. All right, so now starting off with the first game, we got Washington versus Indiana. So right off the bat, the one player that I like the most in this game is going to be Kristaps Porzingis. Okay, Porzingis really went out and had himself a solid preseason, and I am going to be looking at preseason still a little bit, just to give us a general sense of what these teams are looking like, minutes-wise, rotation-wise, and all that stuff. So Porzingis is someone that came out and averaged 1.2 DK points per minute. Okay, that was one of the highest across players that are expected to see significant minutes today. I think Porzingis at 7.8 has a strong chance to go for 40 plus DK points. Okay, he is a play that I absolutely love across both FanDuel and DraftKings. So just pulling him up here, I have him highlighted here. We can see only $100 difference there between FanDuel and DraftKings. You can usually go out and play Porzingis. He's a play that I like a lot. Hachi Murray is someone that I think we should look at a little bit. I'm not saying we have to play him, but this is one of those players I'm going to be monitoring, and that is just because Kyle Kuzma went out and had himself kind of a bad preseason. So just something to monitor there for the Washington Wizards. Now, one player that I absolutely love on FanDuel, not on DraftKings, is going to be Benedict Mathurin. When we sort the cheat sheet here the model by FanDuel value, he's one of the top FanDuel values on the slate. And if you just look at the price difference between DraftKings and FanDuel, we can see why. That's a huge difference. 5.6 on DraftKings, 3.9 on FanDuel. He's a player that on FanDuel, if you're looking at shooting guard position, makes a lot of sense. He went out and had himself a pretty solid preseason. Okay, he averaged 21.7 DK points per game while getting 23 minutes. Okay, he is someone, once again on DraftKings I don't really like, but he is someone that is expected to be, on the floor a decent amount tonight. I don't mind him as a play on FanDuel. Now, kind of a simple play that I think would be able to get to 40 DK points would be Tyrese Halliburton. I think he is going to be a strong play kind of throughout this whole season. I think once the season goes on, we are going to see him at that 8K, maybe even 9K price point range that he was out throughout the whole season last year. This seems like a very soft price point for him on this slate. Take advantage of it because he is someone that should be able to get you 5X, possibly 6X at this price point. It is pretty soft, the price point that I like a lot. Now, with Markelle Fultz out, that will mean that some of these point guards are going to be in some strong shape. Now, Cole Anthony, I don't mind. I think he could easily get to 35 DK points, 30 DK points, but I like Jalen Suggs a little bit more, priced down a little bit more. He is someone that did play well last year with Fultz out, averaged 36 DK points in that stretch. So he is someone that certainly does seem like he's mispriced, and especially if you're looking at it from a FanDuel perspective as well. So Suggs on the slate is priced at 5.7 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's priced at 500. We're getting a price discount there with Suggs, so that would be a reason as to why I'd want to go with him a little bit more on FanDuel than I would on DraftKings. And then a center play that I don't mind would be Wendell Carter. I think he's going to be a solid solid play on the slate. Once again, 30 to 35 DK points. He should be a safe play. He should be able to get to 30 to 35 minutes. He's typically been a DK point per minute player. So if he's getting those minutes at this price point, especially against Detroit, I think he'll be able to take advantage of that and be a strong producer for you at a soft price point. Now, Cade Cunningham, he's certainly someone that you guys can go out of your way to play if you want to. He's someone that could get to 40 DK points and it really wouldn't shock anyone. I'm kind of expecting 30 to 35. Once again, that kind of DK projection that I see for him. He's a fine play. Like, if you end up on him, you end up on him. Not exactly someone I'm going out of my way to play, but against Orlando, that's not going to be a matchup that you're worried about. And then another play that I like a little bit more on FanDuel would be Isaiah Stewart, $400 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. He is someone that averaged 0.9 DK points per minute during the preseason. So he is someone that I think they expect to produce. If he is someone that can get to about 30 minutes, maybe even 25 minutes, he could easily get to 30 DK points at this price point. That'd be enough for me. Not someone I'm particularly going out of my way to play, but someone that you can look at as a value base play. All right, moving on to the Chicago Bulls. I will say DeMar DeRozan, I think he's a little bit priced up. Honestly, we can find the same play cheaper. Can he get to 40 DK points? Is he basically a lock to get to 40 DK points? I would say so. Like, you can play him if you want to. The one play that I like the most in this game is Vucevic. I mean, guys, at 7.2, this is a very cheap price point. Sure, the match with Miami is not one that you particularly are going out of your way to play, but 7.2 is extremely cheap for a guy that averaged 41 DK points last season. Okay, this preseason, he averaged 0.9. Like, it's going to be more of the same. So as long as he doesn't get into foul trouble, gets those 30 to 38 minutes that he's going to get, he should be in for a 40 DK point night. Okay, he should be a strong, safe play. I don't like him as much on FanDuel because he is priced up a little bit more. I think we can find some better value there. But on DraftKings at 7.2, he's a play that makes a lot of sense. The problem with that, like on the flip side of this game, we got Bam, very cheap. Okay, 6.4 is an extremely cheap price tag for Bam. Averaged 38 DK points last year. Okay, yes, Vooch is a kind of a more difficult matchup, I guess you could say. Like, not one that we're straying away from, but we did see last year when he played them last, 27 DK points. Okay, but at that price point at 6.4, that's not going to hurt you too much. Obviously, in a 12-game slate, a big slate, you can't have that many misses. Whereas like last night on the two-game slate, Al Horford was a miss, and you could still kind of work your way around that. It could hurt you if he only does that. Okay, that would be the worry. And just look at the price difference here, guys, like between DraftKings and FanDuel. Okay, over $1,000 more expensive on FanDuel. Okay, that is where he probably should be priced at. Instead, we're getting him at a cheap price point. Okay, even in the preseason, he averaged 1.2 DK points per minute. Now, yes, Jimmy Butler wasn't soaking up as much usage, wasn't playing as much. Okay, so that's why. But it's a good sign of things to come, I think. It's a good sign that he should be able to easily hit value. At this price point, it's a very soft price point. It's a play that I think I'm going to be going out of my way to play a lot. Then a play that I like on both FanDuel and DraftKings is Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero was a guy that was averaging 31 DK points throughout the preseason across 25 minutes per game. And that was across 2 games only. And once again, Jimmy Butler was not soaking up as much usage, was not playing as much, but at 6K, to get a guy that potentially could go for 35, maybe even 40 DK points, I like that. Okay, it's not something I absolutely love, but it is a solid price point. It is a play that you can make and feel pretty confident with. For Cleveland, I'm most likely taking a wait and see approach. The one player that I like is LeVert. Okay, he is a solid price per minute player. If he's going to be getting around 30 minutes, I do see him being able to put up 30 DK points. He is someone this preseason that averaged 0.8 DK points per minute. So, even if we give him 35 minutes, he should be able to hit value at this price point. But really, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm mostly just taking a wait and see approach with Donovan Mitchell there, with Darius Garland there. Like, I just want to take a wait and see approach because they all are priced up enough to the point where you don't need to force any of them into your builds. So another play that I'm going to like a lot more on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel is going to be Pascal Siakam. Once again, about $1,000 price difference there, $900. So Pascal Siakam, though, on DraftKings is an extremely appealing play at 7.6. And this is where it might just be tough to fit in Kristaps Porzingis as price point. Okay, Siakam's a guy that averaged 45 DK points per game last year. His last game against Cleveland, we can slightly put up 50 DK points. Okay, this should be a very solid spot. I mean, we are getting a guy that on average throughout the end of the season was a 9K to 8.5K play. Okay, and we're getting him at the soft price point. Like, that is a price point that I think we are having to go out of our way to play. And now I do really like the idea of playing Jalen Brunson at 6.9. That can be a little bit priced up, I guess. They are expecting him to take a bigger role, and I think that he will take that bigger role as well. He's someone that if he gets to 40 DK points, that wouldn't be shocking. I will say he's a GPP only play though, because we just need to see it first. Personally, I just need to see it first, okay? Going against Memphis, that's not a matchup that I'm worried about either, but I need to see it first, you know what I mean? So 6.9, great price point. He's a guy that I could see potentially breaking the slate as well. I just want to see it first. All right, and now we are going to get some of our best value on the slate with Memphis, okay? Starting out with Desmond Bane for a FanDuel perspective, okay? Even DraftKings is pretty cheap as well. He's actually ranking out as one of the best values across the slate, both DraftKings and FanDuel. So if you like Desmond Bane, you can certainly go out of your way to play him. I think he's going to be a strong play for you on this slate. And specifically for like a FanDuel play, I'm not going to try to butcher his name. Okay, I apologize there, but he could be a nice value play. He's minimum priced on FanDuel. He is someone that I expect to get around 20 minutes. So on FanDuel, if he can get that, like he should just be able to add value. He should be a nice discounted price point play that you can play if you're trying to force in a bunch of studs. So for FanDuel, not a play that I hate. You can definitely make it work. Now getting into the Houston Rockets. Honestly, guys, the Houston Rockets are pretty loaded. I kind of like all of them as plays. Like Kevin Porter Jr., I expect to go out and have a pretty solid game. They just paid him. That means they're investing in him. That means they like him. That means those minutes are going to continue to be there for him like they were at the tail end of last year. So if he's going to be getting around 30 minutes, I do think we are going to see him hitting over his DK average from last year. I would see him getting around 35 to 40 DK points. So to me, he does rank out as one of the better like point guard values on the slate. He is one of those point guard plays that I want to be going out of my way to play. Throughout the preseason, he is someone that did average 1 DK point per minute as well across 4 games. So that is also highly intriguing to me. He's a play that I like. So I do want to call out Jabari Smith as well. He is someone that on FanDuel is a pretty elite value. Okay, it's going to be tough not to play him at the power forward spot. 4.8 on FanDuel. Now on DraftKings, I don't think you need to play him. He is priced up a little bit too much on DraftKings. But man, that's a cheap price point for a guy that did look impressive this preseason. Like if he can get you around 30 minutes at that very cheap price point on FanDuel, he should be someone that is hitting value, and he is someone that should be kind of a staple in your lineup then. And then Jalen Green, he's another one of those Houston Rockets players that I like. He's another one of those players that did look good this preseason, and for him, it's the exact opposite of Smith. He is a DraftKings only play because while he's priced a lot cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel, okay, about $800 price discount. So Jalen Green, if he's going to be getting around 30 minutes, which I think he has a chance to do that, maybe 25 minutes, he could easily get to 25 to 30 DK points and be someone that helps you out, helps you make a good solid build on this slate. And then for the Hawks, I will say I do think they are kind of just priced up a little bit too much. Okay, I just want to take a wait and see approach. Okay, could DeJounte Murray or Trae Young really go off and have 50 DK points on the slate? They certainly can, but they're all kind of priced correctly. All the Hawks players are priced correctly, so for me that's a wait and see approach. And then on the flip side of that, I would say the Pelicans here are all priced pretty cheaply. Like CJ McCollum, it wouldn't be shocking to see him go for 40 DK points at almost 7K. That's a cheap price point. Brandon Ingram, also very cheap at 7.3. He's the one player that I think I have the most confidence in to get to around 40 DK points. And at that soft price point, he is someone that, if you're struggling to find a strong shooting guard play, he'd be the one player that I feel good about, especially at that price point. Now, they're all priced this cheap because Zion Williamson is going to be back in this game. How many minutes is he going to play? That's the question. Will it be 20 to 30, or will he be able to get to 30 plus minutes? I would say it's closer to 20 to 30 minutes, at least at the start of the season. We'll see. He is priced up a little bit too much for me on this slate. I don't see him going out and dominating just because, you have 2 other very solid players in Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. So kind of a stay away for me with Zion Williamson. And then Jonas Valanciunas, how much usage is Zion going to take away from him? Because he is also at a cheap price point, and we've seen that he doesn't exactly need a ton of minutes to hit value. Now, if he does get 30 minutes, he could easily go for 50 DK points, and it wouldn't shock anyone. Okay, I don't mind him as a play, and that's the problem. With the Pelicans, I might do a slight little game stack here, okay, because the Pelicans are all pretty cheap, except for Zion. They should all be able to hit the floor. Okay, and then you can run it back with the Brooklyn Nets. I am kind of also taking a wait and see approach on Ben Simmons. I just need to see it first. Irvin, you could play. I do like Kevin Durant, but he is one of the highest priced players on the slate because DraftKings certainly expects him to continue to do what he's kind of always done. Could he get to 60, 50 DK points? He certainly could. And once again, if I'm game stacking this game, I would do that, but not a particular play that I'm going on my way to play unless it's a game stack. And I will say, if you are trying to game stack it or trying to find a value-based play, Sharp could be that option. I would want to wait and kind of see what the minutes are looking like prior to the game, prior to lineup lock to confirm that. It's tough because obviously it's a 6:30 Central game there, 7:30 Eastern time game there. That's going to be tough to work. So can he get to like 10, 15 minutes at that minimum price? Can he get to 5X? He could, but I don't think it's something that we need to go out of our way to play. I will say part of the reason why I'm saying that is because he is popping up on the model as a decent value play, especially for DraftKings, okay? DraftKings value-wise, Randy Stoudemire is the second best. That's because he's the minimum price and he is someone that is projected to get some minutes. And then OKC, I like a lot of the players on OKC. Like Shai, you could certainly play at 8.7. I do think he is someone that should get to 40 to maybe even 50 DK points. I don't think that's locked in, and 8.7 is a higher price point, but I certainly think it's going to be a safe play. Josh Giddey, I like as well at 7.3. He is someone that if he gets to 40 DK points would not shock anyone. Okay, and I'm not too worried about the matchup with the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. So certainly a play you could play if you wanted to. And then from there, I'm just taking a wait and see approach on the other players for OKC, especially on this big slate. Same thing for the Timberwolves. I want to see how Towns and Gobert look together. Okay, I don't need to force that. And then same thing point guard wise. Like I just want to see the usage. I want to see it first. Are we missing out on some potential solid plays? We are, for sure. I need to see it first from those guys. And now Charlotte, this is where I think a lot of people are going to be pivoting to with Ball out, and I do think it makes sense. Like Terry Rozier is certainly a play that you can make. Rozier was very solid without Ball last year, averaging 38.5 DK points, usage rate of 25.4. He's a solid play, a player that I think I'm going to be going out of my way to play this slate. Gordon Hayward kind of priced down for someone that I think will get to 30 DK points on average in games without Ball. He averaged 34.9 DK points, 22% usage rate. So he's a solid play at 5.9. And then Kelly Oubre. Now, he really, at the tail end of last season, really was not good. Was not someone that you liked. Okay, and that's the worry with him. But at 5.5, he could be someone that we're looking at. He is someone that did average a lot of minutes without Paul, averaged a 25% usage rate, and also around 38 DK points per game. Now, once again, I'm not saying we need to make this play, but if he starts and doesn't have a minute restriction, he should be a solid value play. So that's something where, once again, maybe before lineup block, you're in the Discord chat, links to that in the description, and you're asking about that. Okay. That'd be something that you would want to confirm prior to lineup lock. So Highland is going to be a decent FanDuel base play. He's a lot cheaper on FanDuel, ranking out as one of the better FanDuel values on the slate, and I agree with that. He's a guy that averaged 1.1 DK points per minute throughout the preseason, so he is someone that does seem like he's going to get some minutes. And so at his price on FanDuel, 3.9, it doesn't take as much for him to be able to hit value. Okay, so he is someone that if you're searching for a point guard play on FanDuel, that would be one of the players I'm going out of my way to play. One of the biggest struggles with the slate is that Jokic is priced at 10.3. Okay, he's a guy that averaged 60 DK points per game last year. There's so much center value that I am having a tough time justifying playing him, which sounds weird. And that's my biggest issue on the slate. I'm curious, put it in the comment section below. What are your guys' thoughts on Jokic? Should we be forcing him into our builds, or should we be going with that value that's out there? Okay, because like I said, Porzingis, Carter, Bam, Vooch, those are all solid center plays that I think I'd rather play, just given that we can fit more solid players into our builds than forcing Jokic into the slate. But there is some value on the slate, so we can merit the choice of playing Jokic. It's tough. I'm curious as to your guys' thoughts. Put that in the comment section below. For Utah, the one player that I like a lot is going to be Lauri Markkanen. So he is pretty cheap relative to what I think he can do. If he's going to be getting around 30 minutes, which I do think he's going to get that minutes, he is going to be one of their star players, I think. Okay, so if he's getting those minutes, I think he's going to put up 30 to 35 DK points. Personally, I see him as a core play. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys do, but I think he's going to be some of that solid. We saw in his last preseason game, it's highlighted below here, 21 points, 10 rebounds over 29 minutes. Okay, if he gets 30 minutes, which in a full game, you would expect that to happen, I think he is going to be shooting the ball a lot. I think he is going to be an efficient scorer, and I think those rebounds are going to be there for him. So he is someone I think is a very, very strong play on both FanDuel and DraftKings. He's someone that I like a lot. And then Christian Wood, if you're in this price run range, closing out your builds, I think he's fine. He's a solid lineup filler is what I like to call that. When you're closing out your build, you have a forward spot or a power forward spot left over. He'd be someone that I'm fine with on both FanDuel and DraftKings. He's the same price on both slates. He is someone that averaged over a DK point per minute this preseason at 6.7. If he's going to be getting around 30 minutes, he should be the starter there for him getting around 30 minutes. I could see him easily putting up 40 DK points. Okay. Very cheap price point, not a terrible matchup. And he's someone that consistently did that throughout his whole career, be a DK point per minute player. So if the minutes are there, he should be a solid play. For Phoenix, I think everyone's priced correctly. So I'm just going to pass over them. If you guys like someone in that you feel strongly about, once again, you can put that in the comment section below. Let us know. Just not a game that I really want to chase or a team that I really want to chase. Now, Portland is going to be a very interesting team. I think Damian Lillard is priced up enough. He's priced correctly, I would say. So not someone that we're particularly going out of our way to play. Can he get to 50 DK points? I certainly think so. Josh Hart is someone that kind of struggled this preseason, but he's someone that I do expect to be a solid DK point per minute player. 25 to 30 DK points, kind of a cheaper price point. You could certainly play him. But the play that I like the most is going to be Grant. Okay, he sees himself as a kind of star player. Okay, and that mostly leads to a lot of shot attempts. He is someone that did have a solid preseason as well. At 5.7, I do see him as a play that's going to be able to get to 35 DK points, and maybe he gets hot. Maybe he gets to 40 DK points. It is a soft price point. It's a price point that I like a lot. I think he's going to be the number 2 in this offense, and that's kind of what you need to ask yourself. It's like, will it be him or will it be Yusuf Nurk? That's what you need to ask yourself. I don't mind him. 6.3 is a fine price point as well. A solid center play. A center play that could go for 40 DK points, maybe even 50 DK points at this price point. Like, it could happen, especially against the Kings, a defense that you're not worried about as well. So he is someone that could go off. That's the difficult part. And maybe you do throw out a little Portland stack, a little late night stack there. Okay. Lose throughout the whole night and then have that solid late night stack to push you through the profit. Maybe. We could see that happening. And then the last game, I do like this game for stacking purposes, guys, because De'Aaron Fox is at a cheap price point. 8.3 for a guy that averaged 38 DK points per game last year. He is someone that in this matchup, I think could easily go off. Like, I like him a lot as a play. Should be a solid 40 DK point play. Davion Mitchell is a guy that's expected to take a bigger role this season. He's expected to get around 30 minutes per game. And if he does at this price point, I think that's certainly a cheap price point as well. He is someone that I like a lot on this slate. Harrison Barnes could be a sneaky play for you on this slate. With Murray out, he is someone that should be locked into around 30 minutes as well. He is someone that could easily get to 35 DK points, if the game flow goes that way, if a couple of rebounds go his way, if he's making a couple more shots than we would typically expect of him. That could easily happen and wouldn't be too shocking. Cheap price point. Then we got to figure out what's going to happen for the power forward spot. There is some value there, potentially. Okay, so I'm not particularly chasing that, but there is some value there. And then Sabonis as well, guys. Sabonis, I would say I like him a little bit more than Porzingis, a little bit more than Bam, a little bit more than Vooch. But that is why he's priced up this high. He should be a super safe play, especially given this matchup once again. I expect him to get a big minute share there, over 35 minutes. And if he's getting that, he should easily be able to hit 40 DK points, upside to go for 50. He should be a very solid play. He should be a very safe play. And that's something that I particularly like to look for, are those safe plays. I think he is one of those players that we can play today. And then just to close out this build here for you guys, kind of a little first look build for you. Trey Murphy, why not? Value play, I think he could be fine. He is someone that averaged around 9 DK points per minute. If the minutes are going to be there for him, around 20 to maybe 25 minutes. Can he get to 20 DK points, hit 5x? Sure. For a first look build, we'll toss him in there as a value play, and there it is. And that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate.